Chef Ukhonaye is busy here with preparing our pasta. Remember, World Pasta Day was on Tuesday. So as you can see, we've got a nice little setup and it's boiling the water there a little bit. Now, Chef, take us through some of the ingredients that you got and what exactly. Tell us what you're making here today.
Okay, so I'm making a sun-dried tomato and chorizo penne pasta. So we've got chorizo, which is a Spanish smoked sausage, and dried and flavored and all of that. We've got penne pasta, we've got parmesan, we've got baby spinach, and then we've got my favorite here, which is a sun-dried tomato butter, which you blend your sun-dried tomatoes, a little bit of garlic, salt, pepper, some charred onions, and then add your butter at the end. Then comes out looking like that, which will be our base for our sauce that we'll make. So we're making creamy pasta without the cream.
Okay, cool. And tell me something, how long does this entire thing take?
I can easily say this is a 10-minute meal.
Really?
This is one of those quick meals you get home. If you've got the butter, that's literally the only thing that takes the longest. And the second longest thing to make would be boiling the pasta. Everything else just fries and goes.
So the pasta, obviously, that's store-bought pasta, right?
Yes.
But then, if you had to make pasta, how long would it take to make?
Okay, so with fresh pasta, it's easy. In terms of mixing the flour, the egg yolks, salt in there. That's with the kneading part of mixing that. That's probably a 10-minute exercise on its own. And if you want to dry it out because maybe you want to store it, then that takes a little bit longer. But if it's one of those pastas where you're making to serve right there and then it's a very simple, quick exercise.
Okay, cool. Let me get that mic away from you because I know that you are now busy.
Yes. So now I'm going to add the pasta onto the water. Get that nice boiling water in there.
So does the water have to be brought to a boil first before you put it in?
Yes. Have to, because it obviously fast forwards also the process. Because if it's cold water, the water still needs to get hot, and then you still have to wait for it to boil. That takes the time. So once it's boiling, you add your salt in there, then you add your pasta, then you're good to go.
So how long does now we have to wait for this pasta to boil?
Okay, so now from now until sort of finished, or al dente as we call it, that'll be a good 6 to 7 minutes.
What is al dente?
Okay, so direct translation is to the tooth. So what that means is that when you bite it, it's not like baby food, it's just mush in your mouth. It still has a bite to it. That's when you know you've made the perfect pasta.
All right, cool. Now, I did get a question from somebody a little bit earlier on, and they said that when they make pasta, they normally boil it with water and a little bit of oil.
No. That is a kitchen myth that I feel like people should stop that because you're just wasting oil. Understand that water and oil will never mix. We know that, right?
Yeah.
So if you add oil to your water, the oil just stays at the top. And when you drain the water, the oil goes with the water. So it never touched the pasta. If you want it not to sort of cling together, you add the oil after you've boiled it. So after you're done boiling, you drain your water, then you add oil to sort of keep it separated. But boiling with it, it's one of the most useless oil wasters ever, if I'm going to call it that.
So tell us now, what are you busy chopping out there?
Okay, so now I'm chopping the chorizo, which is the Spanish sausage, because I'm about to fry that up. There'll be two parts of it. There'll be the fried and sort of a little bit fresher. I like the fried because it brings out the flavors in there. So there's paprika in the sausage, there's all the other spices, and it's quite fatty. You'll see once I fry it, because I'm going to fry it without any added oil or butter or anything else, because I need the oil to come out of it, which will also flavor the pasta further.
Okay, pretty interesting. Talking about pasta, of course, it is, it was World Pasta Day just the other day. Do you know, like, roughly how many variants of pasta are there in the world?
I would say, if I would guess, more than 200.
Wait.
More than 200, because when it comes to the kinds of pasta, it's the type of flour that they use. It starts from there, the type of shaping that you can do, and there's a lot of similar shapes, but because of size, it's called something else, So, quite a lot.
So another question that I received a little bit earlier on today, because they knew you were coming, they knew the chef was coming to do pasta. The question was, how do you make the perfect ravioli?
Okay. So the secret to ravioli is your pasta. So your pasta dough, you need to ensure that your pasta dough is not too hard, meaning that it's not one that's too stiff and also not too thin. because if it's too thin, the moment you put in the filling, it will burst once you put it into the water. So the secret's literally in your dough. And I always say with ravioli, the perfect one is to make it with egg yolks rather than the full egg. Egg yolks, so it gets nice and creamy and really yellow and fatty.
So he's frying up the cheese. Oh, smelling divine in here at the moment. Yikes. Chef Ukhonaye, he's from the Capsicum Culinary Studio. By the way, he's been lecturing at the Rosebank campus, am I right?
Yes.
And how long have you been lecturing?
We are now in 2023.
Yeah.
That will be 5 years. 5 years lecturing now. Yeah.
And how is lecturing being, as opposed to obviously like what you're doing now? I mean, is it much different, or like is there practicals all the time, or is there some theory involved? How does it work?
It's very different. What I'll say is it's really interesting to hear what people think culinary college is. You know, just like your question, are there practicals only? Are there tests? So it's when you go to culinary college, it's a mixture of an educational space and vocational. What I mean by vocational, it's like if you're doing plumbing, you're doing, you know, cooking and all of that, we balance those out. So we would put you in a classroom so you can get the knowledge first, and then we test you out in terms of tests and assignments to see that you actually really do understand what you want, and then you go to the kitchen. Because then, you know, there are many ways that people get things. Some want practicals, but we need to make sure that all of that is encompassed in our courses. So that's how we do it.
And how many minutes more would you say we have to get a finished dish?
Okay, we're looking at about 4 more minutes. 4 more minutes. We literally, the pasta is the only thing that's holding us back.
How do you know when the pasta is done? Like as a person, as chef, you've thrown the pasta in there, you've thrown the pasta in the water.
Yeah.
How do you know when it is ready to come out?
Okay, so a pasta will, there's a few things. One would be the color.
Right.
So when you first sort of have it in the pot, it's a little bit darker in color. So once it really starts getting closer to the sort of cooked part of it, it gets lighter in color first.
Okay.
And then also there are different ways to test out pasta depending on the pasta that you're cooking. So I think back in the day, people used to say if you're cooking spaghetti, you take it out of the pot and throw it against the wall. Or you seal it. If it doesn't drop, then it's ready. Which actually is a test out theory, it does work. And then things like penne, because they are very, very thick, you literally need to squeeze it out. If you feel it, you'll say, okay, it's sort of bending in slowly, but you can still feel there's a hardness to it, then it's not ready as well.
Okay, all right, makes sense. Can you, like very quickly, like maybe explain to us how to go about doing this exact dish?
Okay, so the dish is simple. Very, very simple. It's as now we're doing boiling the pasta, getting your sausage. You don't have to use chorizo sausage. That's just a flavor preference, of which you fry it up. And then, as I said, the main probably component that will give us the flavor and the sort of the sauce is the butter. The butter, what I love about butter, it's what I call a very easy vehicle because you can flavor it in any way. So the butter here, it's literally blending of sun-dried tomatoes, garlic, a little bit of sugar, black pepper and salt. You blend those. And then once that turns into a paste, you add butter to it. And then that butter holds all those flavors in there. And yeah, then you add, I love cheese and pasta. I think cheese and pasta are marriage. So add a whole lot of cheese, then you're done.
Chef, take us through what is it that you're doing now?
Okay, so our pasta is ready. It's all cooked and done. I just now added to the chorizo that we were frying my sun-dried tomato butter. So this is now we're starting the sauce part of it.
Okay.
So once this gets going, you'll see it sort of gets a little bit of a darker color. We'll add the pasta into it.
Okay.
And we also saved the pasta water. So that's also our saving grace for a sauce. So people don't know that actually when you have your pasta water is full of starch. It's full of, because it's made from the pasta, which is flour and all of that.
Yeah.
So that's what thickens your sauce if you have a sauce there. So that's what we're looking for. Okay, perfect color now.
So don't ever throw out the pasta water that you boiled it in.
Ever. Never, never, never. So now we'll add pasta into it. As you can see, it's not sticking together. I didn't add any oil to my water.
Right.
So now we stir that up. Get that all coated together. You want all those flavors, as you can see.
Ooh, that looks amazing.
Yeah. It will be even better once we add our parmesan because, as I said, cheese, garlic, butter, those are the three holy flavors.
Yes. So, of course, I mean, obviously you just added some chorizo and that very nice butter, which I'd love to take home.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, obviously, like we can add whatever we want
Yes.
to the additional aspects, right?
Correct. I mean, even the butter itself, it doesn't have to be sun-dried tomatoes. As I said, butter is a very beautiful vehicle to have. You could add sage to it. Now you've made sage butter for a fish dish. You know, you can add anything to it. I mean, butter, you could use it for sweet purposes as well. There's something we call compound butter, which is the butter. If you go out to like really fancy restaurants, you'll see it usually is put on your steak.
Okay.
That's compound butter. It's literally flavored butter. So now, as you can see, we've got it going. It's looking all nice. I'm not happy. I want more butter. I want it.
That looks very...
Can you smell that?
Oh,
Can
man.
you smell that?
Man, oh man, I wish you could smell through the radio because, this is incredible.
There we
So,
go.
cannot wait for this to be ready. Of course, our team's going to taste it and tell us how much they love it. But
So now at this point, when you see it like this, you're like, okay, now we want it sauce. You can see everything's covered, everything is nicely seasoned. Now we first add the cheese. So I'm a cheese fanatic. Cheese all the way.
I don't know
Actually-
anybody who's not.
There are lactose intolerant people.
They don't count.
They don't count. Okay, so you'll see the cheese will start getting stringy, and that will take away from the sauce. But we've got our savior, our pasta water.
So this is Parmesan cheese, right?
Yes, Parmesan. Always get that Parmigiano Reggiano, and you'll be good. It's nice and salty and has a really, like a very distinct sort of flavor to it. If you don't have it, I mean, you could add other hard cheeses. Okay, now it's coated everything. Now we add our pasta water.
So the chef's
as I
adding
said,
pasta water to the dish.
because now I want to create a sauce. We want it saucy. We don't want dry pasta. Okay, you'll see it now. It will come all together already. There we go. There it is. There's the sauce
Wow.
coming through. And we're done. We are done. I'm going to dish up and
That smell is absolutely incredible. And of course, because you're listening on the radio, you wouldn't know. But we've had so many people coming through already on the outside just to check out what's happening here.
Yeah.
Because the chef is definitely cooking up a storm here. So we're going to try and plate out and get our testers to test it rather quickly and tell you how the dish... What is that?
so this is microgreens. So microgreens are literally in the name. It's like micro. We have corn sometimes, like
Yeah.
your mustard shoots. If the little shrub that grows
Yeah.
just before it becomes a full tree, you pick that up and
Okay.
then it's full flavor.
Lovely.
Yeah, that's what makes our plates pretty as chefs. Yeah, there we've got it.
Because I noticed that you didn't put any salt or pepper
Yes.
in that. I suppose that's because the flavor's coming.
Salted, yes, that's salted. The butter is salted as well, salted butter.
Yeah.
And the fact that in the blender, when I was blending with the sun-dried tomato, there was salt in there. And there's cheeses, Parmesan is very salty. Parmesan
Okay.
is very salty.
Okay, so yeah, this is what the final dish looks like. So there we go. That is penne pasta.
Yes,
What is tell me the dish name again?
Yeah, it's sun-dried tomato and chorizo penne.
Oh, that looks amazing. That looks fantastic, man. So tell us something, Chef. Obviously, if you want to follow you for more of what you do, because we know that you have your own company and you
Yes.
do some pop-up restaurants and whatever.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So I call it Ukhonaye Holdings. It's a registered company. You can find it on Instagram. It's at UMH_BY_U. Or you just follow my main chef page, which is at chef_Ukhonaye. Yeah, and then I always, if I'm going to have a restaurant takeover or pop-up, I usually put it on my pages. Then you can buy tickets and come through for like wine pairing or
Oh, wow.
gin pairings. And I do it all around Johannesburg. I just choose different venues because of whatever experience that I want to give at that moment.
Okay, so this is what the chef has prepared. As you can see, the team have already devoured it. So let's see. Maneo, this is, by the way, our award-nominated newsreader, Maneo Matsuneng. Maneo? In words, please. We don't.
It's so difficult.
We don't understand feelings. You know, you just got to
This
speak.
is so delicious.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it for myself. 10 over 10.
10 out of 10?
What is this? Yeah, it's really nice.
Okay, cool. So
Don't
that's...
ask me to explain what I'm.
You don't want to
tasting.
You don't want to explain the flavors that you can
No, I
taste.
don't.
And
You just want to eat.
I can taste this spice and that spice and the butter and whatnot. It just tastes good.
Cheesy. It's nice. It's very saucy. It's out of this world.
Challenge. Can you make that same dish?
No.
Instantly no.
Wow.
Instantly no. It was easy though.
So chef, your tips. Give us your tips and tricks to making, firstly, a good pasta where it's not sticky.
So besides obviously the not sticky, we spoke about the oil, but there's a sort of like a magic trick that I always say when it comes to pasta. So if you have a thick pasta, so what I mean by penne and stuff, you need a thin sauce because those go together. And if you have a thin pasta, you need a thick sauce.
Like spaghetti.
So opposites always because if you have a very thick pasta and very thick sauce, you sit there, it's all gloopy and it's filling your mouth and you're not really tasting it. So those are my little secrets that I've learned through the years.
Is there any celebrity chefs that have inspired you over the years?
There has been. I actually think my previous bosses are celebrity chefs. I would think Neil Anthony, Matt Manning, who has 4 restaurants in Cape Town, but internationally, there's a chef. He's probably seen him on Food Network.
Yeah.
His name is Jeffrey Zakarian. He always cooks in a suit. Now, for me, that is standard.
Yeah.
That is, he never gets a crumb or a sauce on himself, but he's full on suit with a tie, and he cooks. And he's got a beautiful line of pots and all these other things. He's my number one inspiration.
All right. Okay, good. It was a privilege having you with us. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to be with us today. We really appreciate it. Appreciate the meal as well. And these guys are enjoying it. Hello, you want to tell us? You want to taste and tell us?
Yeah, I haven't even tasted it yet.
Yeah, this is going to be a true reaction. Let's see.
Like a real reaction.
A true reaction to the pasta. What do you think?
Very nice. Very good.
Very nice. A cup of tea is very nice.
Yeah, exactly,
I mean...
A sunny day is nice.
It's amazing.
There we go. I love it. All right. Cool. Thank you so much, Chef, for being with us today. And thanks for this amazing dish. Pretty cool. Thanks, man.
Yeah.